I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you I've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for qualifying for the 17th race of Season 7 of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series here from Iowa Speedway. 42 drivers attempt to qualify for 42 spots. Before we get started here and start getting into the drivers and how they did last week at Dover, a little bit of an apology from me. I got the events flip reversed. I believe last week we were promoting that the Cup drivers are going to be at Kansas and the Lights drivers are going to be at Iowa, and I got it wrong. I didn't check the schedule that I wrote down. It's flip reversed. Cup drivers are at Iowa this weekend, and Lights drivers will be at Kansas. So my apologies in that. But now that we got it straightened out, and we're good to go. Charles Sanford, defending champion of the series, currently out on the racetrack. Getting ready to put the official first lap down here today. And let's see what he clocks in at. Going to be a 23.463, the first official lap put down. Since 42 drivers are making the show and nobody is going home this weekend, we've got the 2 rounds of qualifying. The first round going to be a little bit longer than normal, 20 minutes in length. We're approaching the 18 minutes to go mark, and then the Fast 10 will move on to run for the pole position afterwards. All right, let's start getting into the swing of things and talk about some drivers and how they did last week. Charles Sanford had a good run last week at Dover. He ended up picking up 5 spots in standings up to 24th. There's going to be a number of drivers we'll be talking about that probably should have had good runs last week, but some interesting things went down at the Monster Mile. And subsequently, they did not get the runs they were looking for. Michael Norman, right now 10th on the board, and the number 22, Michael Norman, 22nd in overall points as well. It's a driver that started out the season very well. He was up inside the top 10, battling for a playoff spot in via points, and we've not talked a whole lot about him yet in the last couple of weeks ever since the All-Star break. So this team's got to get it turned around. Michael Norman was a 3-time winner last year. 2 of those wins taking place during the playoffs. You have to think he would certainly be a threat if he makes it back into the postseason, but as of right now, he is not in the conversation. Reese Banks, just ahead of him, is in the conversation after a good run last week, starting from the pole and bringing it home inside of, I believe it was the top 10. He gained 2 spots in the standings, now comes into the race in that critical 10th position, so locked in on points. Reese became the 16th different pole sitter last week at Dover as well. Will we increase that streak to 17 here tonight? Who knows? Don't want to tempt fate. Don't want to put down the commentator's curse. Mitchell Collins and 33 coming into this one 17th in points. Just kind of hovers between 10th and 20th in points. It seems has a good day, then has a bad day, has a good day, has a bad day, just keeps kind of canceling out his momentum. Maybe here tonight he can get some good starting track position, maybe pick up his first win of the season tomorrow. Justin Bolin right now 40th on the board, and as soon as I say that, he then clocks into 17th at a 23.311. Destin coming into this one 6th in overall points, still right up there inside of the top 10, but another multi-time winner from last year, 3-time winner, still looking for that first checkered flag of season 7. Casey Hoyt on pit road there. Your new points leader as he and Rob Evans keep hot potatoing that points lead back and forth. Levi McIntyre lost a couple of spots in the standings last week after he was caught up in that incident over in turn 3 after the RJ Bishop engine problem during a green flag pit stop cycle. Levi now up to 13th on the board after that last lap. Levi's 9th in overall points. Of course, former winner from Poconos, so he's in the conversation for a wild card spot if he falls outside of the top 10 in the standings, but he's yet to do so at this point in time. Nick Gunther right now 12th on the board in his Mazda, 4-time winner last season, and we've just not seen anything that has indicated Gunther has a championship run in him. Only one top 10 on the year, 39th in overall points. A big thing too is he pretty much qualifies around where he finishes. His average qualifying is 25th. His average finishing position for the year so far is 26th. So it has not been a good year for this team. And now he is 15th on the board. RJ Bishop in the 98 out of Young Motorsports. Of course, last week kind of really was the game changer in that entire race as came to pit road for a normal green flag pit stop, and then the engine went south as he left. Couldn't make it back around to pit lane. Everybody was wadded up behind him on the access road of 1 and 2. It led to a wreck over in turn 3. RJ obviously DNF'd due to the mechanical problem, and he comes into this race 38th in points. It has been a downward spiral for this 98 team in the last couple of weeks. Matt Haas managed to finish the only car 1 lap down last week, which netted him a top 20. And it did gain him 3 spots in the standings, but it's been a struggling year as well for a driver that was in the conversation for the regular season championship last season. He is 35th in overall points with only 1 top 10 to his credit. So he's obviously looking for a weekend to start getting things turned around. Maybe this weekend at Iowa. We'll see. Nathan Orman, not a lot of speed right now out of that Disney Plus Ford Mustang, as he currently sits 41st on the board at a 23.552. Nathan Orman coming to this race 42nd in points. That is the lowest of the chartered drivers in the current standings. Matt Haas pulling right up to the back bumper of his teammate Matthew Rodriguez, who is back over in the Toyota Camry. Last week he was in the Ford Mustang over at Bishop Family Racing, qualified into the show. Rodriguez, though, ended up getting contact from that wreck over in turn 3 after the RJ Bishop mechanical problem. He finished a few laps down and dropped 2 spots in the standings. He comes into this one 30th in points. Still in the wild card conversation, but he's right on the cut line to be playoff eligible. That was Keith Batson on pit road that we saw there for a brief moment. Keith Batson coming off some big momentum the last couple of weeks. He had the runner-up finish at M&M Superspeedway, had another solid top 10 run last week at Dover. Batson's knocking on the door, actually, of the top 10 in overall standings. He's only 6 points out in 11th. Connor Breton in the Bobby Labonte throwback colors this week. Another driver that has been hitting some good momentum ever since the All-Star break. Jumped up, I think it was 9 spots, 8-9 spots in the standings after M&M Superspeedway, and last week another great run for him, moved up 5 spots in the standings. He's now 19th in overall points. Connor Breton trying to have his 2 victories. Lock himself into a wild card position. He could make a run, as things are standing right now, he could make a run for a top 10 though as well. Jose Mills, another driver that is looking really good as of late. Last week though, was one of the drivers that was in the conversation for a top 10. He was running top 5, had a mechanical failure, DNF'd from the race, and lost 7 spots in the standings. When I look at some of these drivers and they have the mechanical problems, I don't take that away from their momentum because it's something that's out of their control. So I still think that Jose Mills is a driver we have to continue to watch here down the home stretch. Right now, though, he's 34th on the board, so not a lot of speed out of that Blue Oval Automotive. Entry is Casey Hoyt, the new points leader. 21 points over Rob Evans now. After Evans finished off the lead lap, Casey Hoyt managed to finish inside of the top 15. Casey Hoyt looking for his series-leading 3rd win on the year. But right now he is 29th on the board, so he'd have a lot of cars he'd have to pass as things currently stand on the charts. Kyler Sustre last week failed to make the show in whole day qualifying. First time in a number of weeks that Kyler Sustre failed to make a start. Of course, he's a non-charter driver as well, so he's trying to keep himself in the wild card conversation with his Las Vegas win. He dropped 10 spots in the standings because of his DNQ. He's 28th in overall points, only 4 points ahead of the cut line. So both he and Matthew Rodriguez, former winners, non-charter drivers, hovering around that cut line, need good points runs tomorrow. Matt McIntyre currently is 40th on the board. Matt McIntyre coming into this one in the... Well, I had his name and I lost it. 33rd position in points. He was one of the drivers, one of the multiple drivers that was caught behind RJ Bishop coming off of pit road. Lost a ton of positions as a result. Never had a chance to be able to really gain them back. He was on a bit of a momentum run into Charlotte and M&M Super Speedway. May have gotten stifled a little bit last week, but we'll see if he can bounce back here tomorrow. Jessica Shelton, right now 19th on the board for the 2-time winner this season. That Project Dodge Intrepid. Shelton had another good run last week, following up her 2nd win of the season at M&M's. 27th in overall points coming to this one. Total of 6 points ahead of the cut line. I mean, there's a plethora of drivers right down there around that cut line trying to remain playoff eligible. Shelton, Sustre, Rodriguez. It's going to be fun to watch how it all plays out tomorrow. Chris Dollerton right now with a chance of moving on to run for the pole position as he is 7th on the board. 23.127 for the former champ, the inaugural champ from season 1. Chris Dollerton coming into this one 25th in points. He was another driver that was caught in that stack up off of pit road last week at Dover, losing 5 spots in the standings as a result. There's the former points leader Rob Evans, right now 29th on the board. Rob was also caught up in the incident over in turn 3, our only caution last week. Subsequently 21 points out of the points lead. Looking to bounce back again here this week as Will Goss. You got to think, look at this track and its configuration, kind of similar in some ways to North Wilkesboro, and that's where Will Goss picked up his first career victory. Right now 14th on the board in the Menards Pringles Ford Mustang. Will 8th in overall points coming to this one, 20 points ahead of the 10th in the standings cut line. Well, I told you folks that last week I didn't have the stats right in front of me. I was going to take the opportunity during this week to go back and see how long of a winless streak James Qualls was able to snap after his victory last week at Dover Raceway. His last victory was back in Season 3, Race 8 at the road course in Australia, Pukaka Raceway. And that was a total of 151 points-paying races ago. Super huge winless streak snapped for James Qualls. Qualls all season has been in the conversation of the playoffs to be a top 10 in points, but finally gets that checkered flag he's been waiting to get for nearly over 4 seasons. And he's 7th in overall points now, so If he falls out of the top 10, he for sure has got to be in the wild card conversation, but I don't think you're going to see him falling outside the top 10 anytime soon. Right now, he's outside the top 10 in speed charts. First car outside in 11th. He'd love to advance into the fast 10. He's got to find a little bit more speed, as he's got a 23.166 to Quentin Moore, his teammate's 1.60, who right now holds that 10th position. Carson Gum, former champion, 23rd on the board, but he had a good run last week at Dover. Jumped up 6 spots in the standings to 21st, so is this the turnaround point for him to maybe get up into the conversation for a playoff spot? Chevrolet side of Fortnite Squad Racing has looked really good. Obviously, the victory with Dylan Poteet back at Darlington. Yeah, I think they're putting a lot of effort into the Carson Gum ride, trying to get him up there into that conversation for a playoff spot as well. Ryan Brummer, 34th on the board right now. Ryan 16th in overall points. We saw him having that good momentum streak just heading into the All-Star break and just after the All-Star break. He's hit a bit of a skid as of late, as have really all of the Auto Junction racing cars. Ryan Butcher had a decent outing last week, but Laura Chung has been persona non grata for the last couple of weeks, so we'll see if the entire Toyota organization can get the ship righted. We mentioned about Dylan Poteet. There he is, 4th on the board right now, in position to advance into the Fast 10 at a 23.101. Poteet coming to this one 3rd in overall points. Took 3rd in the standings from Jesse Turner last week at Dover, 44 points out of the overall points lead. Daniel Boyles right now sitting 6th on the board. I mentioned about this track kind of looking similar to North Wilkesboro. Daniel Boyles, a former winner at North Wilkesboro last season. Daniel Boyles, another driver that is just trying to find a little spark. May have happened last week, though, as he gained 5 spots in the standings. 32nd in overall points coming into this one for the driver out of World NOS Racing. We'll see if last week was a revelation and this team might be able to start making a potential playoff push. Dylan Young, 30th on the board right now for the 2 car. Dylan Young's been hovering between top 10 in points, wild card position. Right now he's in a wild card spot, 12th in overall points coming into this one. The highest driver outside of the top 10 is, Daniel Boyles got the wall back there, as you saw. But the highest driver currently outside of the top 10 with a victory is Dylan Young. Benjamin Miles, right now 2nd on the board. Matter of fact, we've got 2 Northeast Motorsports Chevrolets, 1 and 2. His rookie teammate Connor Breton is currently the fastest in this first round of qualifying. Benjamin Miles, though, coming into this one, currently situated in the 36th position in points. DNF'd after crash damage with that wreck over in turn 3 last week. He was having a good run, too. He was up inside of the top 10, battling hard. May have been able to get a top 5 because he was one of the multiple drivers like James Qualls and Jose Mills that looked like they were able to make passes on the long run. So it's not like Miles wasn't running well, didn't have a good day going. It just went south after all the plethora that took place about midway through, following up on the RJ Bishop incident. Anthony McCurry right now in the Fast 10 in 9th at a 23.159. That is literally only 1/1000th over 10th place. Trying to be a Mazda representation into the Fast 10. Anthony coming to this one 18th in overall points. Kind of on the same run as Ryan Brummer, where he had some good runs going heading into and just after the All-Star break, and then M&M Super Speedway kind of tapered off after he had some damage in that one, and then really non-factor last week at Dover. So just kind of hovering right now. You got spin up here. Ooh, Jose Mills there off of turn 2. He's got some damage on the right side of his machine. Everybody was able to avoid him, though, fortunately. It's Keith Batson coming to pit road there. Reese Banks, Kyle Matthews battling side by side. Kyle Matthews, former champion, 37th in overall points coming into this one. He was another driver that was caught behind RJ Bishop with his engine failure last week. I believe he and Cody Lamas were the first two right behind RJ Bishop at the time. As we have some drivers on pit road making some last-minute adjustments. Cody Lamas 12th on the board right there in the 84, just outside of the top 10 to be able to advance into the next round of qualifying. Cody 23rd in points coming into this one. That team has really all of a sudden hit a brick wall after Cody was up in the conversation of maybe being inside the top 10 in overall points. And now he's in danger of falling outside of the top 25. Reggie Fogelman 15th on the board right now. The other driver that did not run well last week dropped 4 spots in the standings down to 13th. He's 14 points behind the top 10 in overall standings. A lot of drivers on pit road here. Zach Rogers had a great run last week, albeit through the benefit of avoiding all the mayhem. He ended up not advancing any higher in the point standings, still 40th in overall points, but still had a good points day nonetheless. Right now he's 3rd on the board, so he's got a chance to run for the pole in just a few moments as we've got zeros on the clock. We're waiting for session to be official. Trying to find the 88 of Connor Breton. There he is coming to pit road. Looks like he is going to be the fastest here in round 1 at Iowa. Over his teammate Benjamin Miles, Zach Rogers, Dylan Pote going to make it the top 4 Chevrolets, and then the next 5 spots are Fords with Collins, Turner, Boyles, Dollerton, Levi McIntyre, and Anthony McCurry. Looks like he is going to be the lone Mazda that will advance into the Fast 10 to run for the pole position. We're just waiting for zeros to appear on the clock. There's Austin LaPlante. Another of the Northeast Motorsports Chevrolets had a good run last week at Dover. Brought it home in the runner-up position as the standings are official. And I gave you the Fast 10, and there they are. Look at that, 1/1000th out of the top 10 for Quentin Moore, and his teammate James Qualls right there as well. 1,000 separating him from Cody Lamas for 12th position. Speeds were really, really close. Just at the end of the top 10 and down through about roughly the top 25, top 30. Very, very close for positionings there. For Kyler Sustre and Matthew Rodriguez, they knew they were going to be locked into the show with no outstanding non-charter drivers qualifying this week. And 11th place on down is where drivers will officially be starting this race. Jose Mills, we saw him have that spin there off of turn 2 on the back straightaway. They'll have to do a little bit of damage repair on his race car as he'll start towards the rear of the field. Laura Chung back there as well. Destin Bolin, driver in the top 10 in points, going to be starting back in 39th. Matthew Rodriguez, we mentioned he's the cut line driver, 30th in standings. He's got a lot of cars to pass tomorrow. And Nathan Ormond, not a good qualifying effort for him as he's going to be 42nd on the board. But there are your Fast 10 from Breton on down through Anthony McCurry. Just eyeballing it, I'm not certain if we have a former pole sitter in this Fast 10 outside of Daniel Voiles. Levi McIntyre, does he have a pole position? He does not, so there is a good chance that we may only have one former pole sitter heading into our Fast 10, and we may have a 90% chance of the streak increasing to 17 straight with different drivers on the pole. But we'll have to find out. Connor Breton was the only driver to break into the 22-second lap time. Can he follow that up for a pole position here at Iowa? We'll find out in just a moment right after this commercial break. Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast on NNSCRA TV. If you enjoyed your watching, it would help us out a lot if you'd hit that like button. Also, if you're not already, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the NNSCRA crew today. And if you're on your phone, be sure to click that bell to be notified whenever we have a broadcast here on NNSCRA TV. Once again, we thank you for your support, and we hope you continue to enjoy today's broadcast. All right, final round of qualifying here for our Fast 10 to try and start from the inside of the front row at Iowa. Track that in testing, looks like it's going to be very much a track position type event tomorrow afternoon, so getting that pole position could be very, very important. I mentioned before we went to that break, Daniel Voiles, as I was quickly eyeballing it, was the only former pole sitter on the season that I saw. This is another one, so we've got actually 2 out of 10 drivers advancing into this Fast 10 that are former pole sitters. Chris Dollerton being the other, and he's the first one out there onto the racetrack. See if this is a good strategy with it being only 5 minutes on the clock here for this final round of Q. Have nobody in front of him, be able to maybe lay down really fast lap time. Don't know if draft really is going to come into play in terms of lap times in this one or not, as Dollerton clocks in 23.983. Lap times will pick up a little bit, but I don't think you'll see anybody hit into the 22s like Breton was able to do in the opening round of qualifying. Anthony McCrory, who was 10th in round 1, looking to improve on that. Zach Rogers, who was 3rd, right behind him. Currently he's 2nd on the board, but this is going to be, I believe, his first official lap, 23.652 for Zach Rogers. Number of drivers still just sitting on pit lane there. I think 5 of them were sitting on pit road. 4 of them out there up to speed. Lead by McIntyre, now heading out onto the track. Mitchell Collins right behind him. Collins right now 2nd on the board at a 23.621. Chris Dollerton is top of the board at a 23.422 right now. So that benefit of going out there and running clean laps looks like it's paying off. 23.244 now for Dollerton. And he's not getting any draft. This is just the raw speed out of that Whataburger Ford Mustang. Chris Dollerton may be en route to being the first repeat pole sitter on the season, unless something happens here in the next 2.5 minutes. Poteet, Breton, Turner all getting up to speed. Zach Rogers going to get hindered there a bit by Benjamin Miles, who comes out onto the track. Daniel Voiles right there as well. Anthony McCrory just jumped up to 2nd. And, ooh, he may have something for the pole. He might be trying to have something for the pole. Dollerton has a 23.244, and McCrory just ran a 23.271, improving on his current lap time. Ooh, and he's coming to pit road. Oh, maybe he thinks that's all he can get. I would have at least tried to run another lap there if I were the 61, but Dollerton, for the time being, actually just improved on his lap time there, so he set the bar even higher if McCrory had run that extra lap. Went from a 23.244 to a 2.31. Dylan Poteet up to a 23.535, putting him 5th on the board, and immediately drops to 6th. Connor Breton, who was the fastest in round 1, he's currently the slowest here in round 2, 23.771. Jesse Turner took the 5th spot from Dylan Poteet moments ago at a 5.24. See if he can improve on that here this lap. He does, to a 3.61. Still over a 10th off of both Chris Dollerton and Anthony McCrory. Miles now into 5th at a 23.335. Dylan Poteet, 23.318. Moves up to 3rd. Miles and Collins right now are tied for 4th with 3.35s each. Miles looks to break that tie, can't do it. Instead, Rogers now goes to a 3.35. But I believe Collins actually just broke into the 23.1s at a 23.187. And that knocks Anthony McCrory off of the front row, and Collins just went to the top of the board. 23.007 for Mitchell Collins. So he took 2nd from McCrory. He takes the pole from Dollerton, and Jesse Turner just jumped up to 2nd place at a 23.130. Let's keep an eye on him. Does he have something here on this lap to maybe get the pole? No, he was about 0.3 off his fastest lap. How about the Fords coming out late? Mitchell Collins, I believe the zeros are on the clock. Mitchell Collins and Jesse Turner are going to be the front row. And Mitchell Collins is going to extend the streak to 17 different pole sitters on the year. That's going to be the third Michael Norman Motorsports driver to start from a pole position. Michael Norman and Nathan Ormond, former pole sitters on the season. I'm pulling a little James Bond right there with the 007 for Mitchell Collins. So he'll be the one to lead us to green tomorrow here at Iowa for our 17th race of the season. Session is complete, speeds are locked in, and here's a look at them. It'll be an all-Ford front row for the second straight week. Mitchell Collins will be alongside of Jesse Turner. Last week it was Reese Banks and Caleb Fogler that were the front row. Dylan Poteet will be the Chevrolet up inside of the top 5 in third. Chris Dollerton, who for most of the session had the pole, he will drop to 4th, and Anthony McCurry will start in 5th. Daniel Voiles will be 6th, 7th place for Levi McIntyre, and then Chevrolet had the top 3 spots in the first round of qualifying, and they have the last 3 spots here in the second round. Rogers, who was 3rd fastest, 8th. Miles, who was 2nd fastest, 9th. And Breton, who was the fastest, in 10th. So it's almost like a complete flip reverse for all 3 of those drivers. Almost kind of like an inverted field of the top 10 for our top 3 in round 1. But Mitchell Collins, 17th different pole sitter on the year. Cannot believe we have gotten this far without a repeat pole sitter. But he'll be the one to lead us to green tomorrow afternoon with Jesse Turner on the front row. Later on today, you've got Kansas Speedway playing host to the next race for the Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers. And then tomorrow, it is the Duracell Cup Series drivers back here at Iowa Speedway. Hope you continue to join us here for our Midwest weekend here in the Duracell Lights and Cup Series. And until later on tonight or tomorrow afternoon, depending on when you tune in next, I've been Seth Bowen. You've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.